I think we were pregnant with Abigail at that time. I'm pretty sure. So we prayed about like, hey, what comes next? It's like, let's have a meeting. We'll pray about what's next. And I like shooting the moon first.
Yes.
Dream big. What could all happen? And then tear it back to like, hey, what is God saying? What is the best thing to do and whatever. So did that with Betsy. If we're going to move, where would we move? And why would we do that? And I was hoping she would say somewhere like in Europe or something like that.
Yeah. Shoot for the moon.
Yeah.
We all should go to
crazy.
Paris, Copenhagen.
Yeah. And she's like, Waco, Texas. Like, okay, seems very practical. Not what I thought we would start with, but I like Texas. I have family from Texas, and my grandfather lived in Houston at the time. It's like that could be good. Okay, we'll pray about that.
Yeah,
start looking at the real estate market there, and so the next morning we got a message from our good friend Shelby Burford, who you guys know, but another just like God's awesome and crazy all at the same time part of the story. His message like, hey, I had a dream last night that you guys were living in Waco. Just thought, felt like I needed to share that with you. Love you. Have a great day. It's like, cool, babe, I'll start looking at houses in Waco. So we started like queuing everything up and getting set up to go to Waco.
Life is a playground that God has given us. It's meant for building, creating, risking, failing, learning, and becoming. Here, we will tell the stories of people who are living audaciously so that you can feel the permission to play too. So come and play with us on the Audacious Playground.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Audacious Playground. Got an awesome show lined up for today, if I do say so myself.
Yeah. Literally speaking about yourself.
I think I might just, talk about myself a little bit today.
That's fine. We'll allow that. We'll allow that.
But before that, we've got our Around the Horn.
Baseball sound effect. Crack.
And then we also have our corrections from the previous podcast, our amendment section for all of the mistakes we have made on the last podcast, which do we have any of those today?
I don't think so. We did. I mean, unless John Mark told his history incorrectly, which I don't foresee that happen.
Yeah.
But I think the only correction I would say is that.
Wait, you want to say that for the amendment section, or you want to do it right now?
It's we've gone 2 weeks without recording.
It has begun.
And so it's not a correction. It's just a state of point.
Yeah.
A state of matter.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do Around the Horn. Let's do it.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little Around the Horn. We're going to talk about current events a little bit of up and coming for Waco, and then also just kind of, world at large. And then today we get to get into my story. So before we get going here, we've got John Mark Buckner, Preston Seibert, and myself, John McGovern, here taking you to it.
Preston, seeing as you've probably done the most in the last 2 weeks,
man, I guess so.
You should go first.
Well, I will say we were all on vacation.
Vacation stories
2 weeks ago. So, my family went to Franklin, Tennessee. I say Franklin because Nashville has become so big now that you have to be specific where you go.
Yes.
So I went to Franklin for a week over my kids' spring break, and it was awesome. Had some great interactions. And so the last podcast I had, I said, I'm reading this book by Stan Moser. Me and my dad met with Stan Moser, who ran the Word office here in Waco.
Amazing.
Such a great dude. And just decided to stay connected with him. Saw some friends, saw some cousins, and it's a great place to be.
You drive or fly?
Drove.
Well,
Just
Way
one,
to go.
one day, one shot.
So fun.
And so did that. And then, yeah, I guess since then we have Around the Horn, and this is kind of current events, but building out a dashboard using Cursor AI and learning how to vibe code in real time.
Yep.
John showed me last Monday how to do it, and I am well on my way to building out a complete dashboard.
Which is more than me, because John also showed me the webpage for Cursor AI, and I did nothing with it.
You're like, what are all these numbers? Like meep, more meep. That's what it's like.
Preston got a little bit more intention than just that. So
yes. Yeah.
I saw it and I thought, I'm tired looking at this.
As am I. But and then my last thing, really, really admonished by this last Thursday's All In podcast with Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, and kind of hearing by the leaders of the AI agentic world, where everything's going. And it's just fun to be like kind of on the, not coattails per se, like we're far behind, but at the curve, the beginning of the bell curve. It's like, oh yeah, we're doing it. Smalls.
Yeah, I
That's
think
great.
listening to that got a lot of confirmation. Just about direction that we're taking, and some of the technology pieces that we're pursuing. And I think part of that is, like, as you're talking about vibe coding, having a technical partnership or experience in that process is kind of the magic sauce right now. If it's just, coming in from the dark and gonna play around, like, vibe code a project, it's like, yeah, you'll get to a good demo, but an actual, deployable product is probably a little out of scope.
So we're getting there. It's fun stuff. So that's my Around the Horn.
What about yourself, John?
Yeah. My update, also on vacation in spring break time. So we were down in Florida, got to rent a boat with the family. And the highlight of the trip for sure was we had 3 dolphins that came and were playing around the boat. So much so that, like, my wife had to pick her feet up out of the water, or the dolphins would have, like, brushed up against her. And it's like, well, that would have been amazing. You would have touched a dolphin. She's like, I didn't know if I could or not. It's like, if an animal in the wild initiates the contact, you're totally fine.
Yeah, said the bear.
But then he said, but Betsy, you can't do that on porpoise. Thank you.
That was really, really good. But it was incredible. Kids loved it. It was very, very fun, and just kiss from God of, like, wow. And they were seriously hanging out, playing. It was a mom and a baby, and then one other dolphin that showed up after a bit, but they were just, like, playing around the boat for a while. And it was awesome. And then outside of that has been, getting you rocking and rolling as a vibe coder, and continuing to work on projects ahead. So, John Mark, how about yourself?
I've been doing well. It looks like we were all in different states. I didn't quite realize that you were in Tennessee, but we went down to Port Aransas. We were at the beach. Kids were just psyched out of their minds for going to the beach. Link literally packed a carry-on 4 weeks before we went to the beach, and he put his favorite clothes in there to carry on and slid under his bed. And I proceeded to just remove the clothes from the carry-on so he could keep wearing them for the next month, but let him think that he had packed his clothes, and the carry-on just stayed there. We had a great time. Getting back to Waco, it's always re-envisioning, sometimes being gone, to realize I want to keep things moving forward, and then feel like so much purpose when I get back. You're like, oh, this is the right place to be. So fun to get back to the office, to be in here, to ask big questions. I've felt encouraged with some projects moving forward on U.S. Space Force event that's going to happen here in May. I'm actually going to a Navy event tomorrow. We're hosting the Navy in Austin, so I'll be down there talking with some tech defense guys tonight. And it's these questions that can hurt my mind, but I think are really good. I think growing up, people would say, if you had $1 million, what would you do? But, like, on this scale, when you start talking with the U.S. government, they don't want to know what you want to do with $1 million. The question is, what are you going to do with $100 million? What are you going to do with $200 million? And I have no clue. but it's really fun to talk about. So
Yeah.
talking about infrastructure in Central Texas that could handle a investment of $100 million. And I don't know the answer for it, but there's just been some great communication around the city, downtown development, city leaders, Baylor Chamber around aligned interest and agreement that Waco's going someplace. What are our commonalities and how do we move forward? So yeah, just had lunch with some people about that. Now I'm here.
That's pretty awesome.
I love it. Do you have any corrections?
I don't think so.
Any rebukes?
I don't think so.
I think other than we apologize about a 2-week hiatus. We're still here. So
it probably will be even more than that before this airs. So sorry for the gap, guys, but we're getting a little buffer built up
we're
here,
just in it.
so that you guys can
quantity, not quality.
Always enjoy the weekly dose of the playground.
And I apologize for my sniffles.
Yeah, two things. Lots of sickness rolling around the country. I feel like even in our travels, there was people.
But you know who isn't sick? Robots and AI. Tell me about that, John.
But
yes,
that's a good transition.
We like to hear the future.
I think talking about the context of Waco and then also just like the market in general, the broader market. I can't see John Mark. This like arm is in my way.
I was gonna say, what's the camera angle? For the last 10 minutes, it's just like a bar in front of John's face.
Well, my camera's good. Just I can't see John Mark, which is not optimal. But AI, agentic AI, is a very big topic right now. And then also oil, like the ability for transporting oil around the globe post dropping bombs on Iran.
Okay, so for myself and maybe for those listening, watching, what's the difference between AI and agentic AI? I would agree. Is it just like the same thing, similar?
Yes. Yeah. Agentic AI is the application of AI to get stuff done. So think of it as agent means working for you. And then AI, I think a lot of us, I know each of us have used ChatGPT. So you'll ask a question, you'll get information back.
Yes.
It transitions into an agent or agentic AI when there's more than just retrieval of information happening. Like you're starting to build out flows with a productive outcome.
So yeah, I'm probably like most people where ChatGPT is like a synthesized Google first page, and it's just a lot more easier to read than like actually click on the first 10 articles.
Yeah.
The agentic AI is operations based on those requests. Is that right?
Right. So kind of a funny example or frivolous example of that would be ChatGPT, deliver to me a kava meal, and it actually be able to do it. So it's the transition from like, oh, I know what kava is. I also know what your tastes are. I can connect that all together via the internet, make an online order with a delivery to your office address, and it shows up. That would be the transition from where it is now. It's like, here's your local kava. You would probably like this meal, and then you have to go make the order.
Yeah.
The agent gets it done.
And we would take kava as a sponsor.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. Where I think all of this intersects with Waco, which is incredible as things are going on. One, hosting the Space Force in May.
Yeah.
Also, there's just a lot of conversations because of the strategic location of Waco in defense. So yes, stuff is happening internationally. There's a lot of interest in Central Texas and the benefits of that and conversations that are happening there. And then also, we had a fun meeting this week with the cybersecurity department.
Other than a mixture of both, we talked with the Provost Research for Baylor University and then the Cybersecurity Council, Central Texas Cybersecurity Council.
Yeah. And that was really awesome. Got to see their server setup. Also learn a little bit about their program. I'm excited about what is to come with that. Because as agentic AI is taking off, there's a need for local hardware to be deployed. And the major question right now is security. Like, how does that get secured?
Yeah. So this room is cool because you're in the Baylor's Research and Innovation Center. You go down this long hallway, turn in, and at first I was confused because they said this is going to be, what's the term, like the gauge or something, the range is
the range. That's right.
And I'm like, there's 3 desks in here. Doesn't look like anything special. And then these 2, like the doors aren't even marked.
Yeah.
Like these 2 doors, they open up.
Yep.
And you walk in and it goes from like, dark to like the lights turn on. It's like,
yeah.
And there's just like massive screens on the front and 32 desks with like the latest technology and this huge server rack in there. And
it felt like Houston Command Central.
Yes.
For like NASA. It's like, well, what happened? We just like stepped into the control space.
Yes. And it's all self-contained. So it's like these hackathons where you go in there and you do these problems, but it's self-secured so that when you enable a whole bunch of hackers to start hacking, they don't just like hack Baylor because they're connected to the systems like this. Like, go destroy yourselves, not us, please.
Yeah. So it's really cool. Looking forward to what that can mean for Waco, and then also all of the things that are coming as agentic technology really starts taking off. So
specifically with like servers and decentralized servers, or as Jensen says it, putting up servers and data systems up in space. So we'll do that.
Yes.
Next.
Yes. Data centers in space.
We will personally.
Yes.
Got the first
with a
flight scheduled
a stomp rocket
on Monday.
One of the stomp rockets.
Stomp rocket.
Love it so rocket. Man. Just watching my 3-year-old jump on a stomp rocket, I'm like, you don't have enough mass. And my 3-year-old doesn't know what mass is because of some cartoons. Like, I don't have enough mass, Daddy. Like, no, you don't.
Well, speaking of mass, John is
made of matter, which has mass, dynamite transition.
But John's story has a lot of mass to it and a lot of things going through it.
You may think that means I started out as a Catholic.
I was going to say, you may think that if you're listening, that John is jacked.
John's christening.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, but we're excited to jump into your story, John.
Yeah.
And why you are the way that you are. And it's going to be wonderful.
I think a good starting place is kind of defining the playground again. And what that means or has meant in my life. So it wasn't until I was like late 30s. I want to say 37, but maybe it was 38. Anyway, it was while I was living in Reading, was at church. It was during a worship service, and it was just like praying, and saw a picture, which is how I'm used to God like speaking to me. Like I see pictures. Like some people like will feel a thing or hear something or whatever, but I typically see pictures, and saw a picture of playing on a playground. And then this is like a head dialogue of like hearing like the Holy Spirit's voice of like, hey, I've created the playground for you to play with me. And in that context, it was about work and it was about life, and it was more than like what we would consider just kind of playing. And then I saw like a picture of Elon Musk. And at the time, SpaceX was starting to get to space. They were doing
like
good work, but it wasn't like a known thing.
2015, 16?
I think this was like 17, 18. So like they had been successful in rockets by that point. But it wasn't where they're at now. And I definitely didn't know anything about them. It's like, okay, this is kind of weird. Picture of Musk. And I wasn't a huge fan of his at the time. I didn't know that much about him. But what I felt like the Lord was saying was like, this is a man that's dreaming with me. Like, whoa, okay, that's incredible. But what does that actually mean? And so I spent some time there just praying with God. And what I really felt like he was saying is just like with a playground, it's not that you can't get hurt, like you can fall off the monkey bars and break your arm or whatever. But it's a place that's designed to be played in and to take risks in. It's like, I've designed you to go take risks. Like, go play with me. It's like, okay, cool. Let's do that. And I feel like even leading up to that point, that is kind of how I run my career. But it's just another invitation and clarity into like, oh, this is what this means. This is what I'm doing. So yeah, that is the backdrop. Rewind back to probably college is a good starting point.
Because you're not from Reading, you are from.
Yeah, I'm not from Reading, not from Waco. I am from Kansas City, so Lee Summit specifically. Went to Lee Summit High School. Grew up there, but it feels like half my childhood was spent in Warsaw, Missouri. If you know, you know, but you probably
I don't.
So Warsaw, Missouri is on the very, very, very like northern end of Lake of the Ozarks, which a lot of people do know, but it is primarily on the lake that feeds into Lake of the Ozarks. So that's where I spent a lot of my childhood, just out in the woods and learning how to drive boats and shoot guns and drive motorcycles and all of that stuff from a very young age.
What was your first job?
My first job was mowing lawns,
Okay.
like official first job. So my parents had a construction company,
Mm-hmm.
building houses, and I don't remember if they had like lawn guys that didn't show up and they needed somebody to help get it done or what, but just started going and mowing yards.
You a tall kid?
Brother.
Like when I think about me learning how to mow, there's like the mower has like two bars. You know, it's like the tall one and the high one.
Uh-huh.
And I would like push the low one, which is like there for like structural support, so
Yeah.
the thing doesn't like lean in. And I would have like one hand up top and one like below it to push it because I was just so short.
Yeah. Nope. I was a tall kid. Well, at least at that point, I grew a ton, like 8th grade,
Okay.
8th grade to freshman year.
But your parents were in real estate. What was that like?
It was awesome. I loved it. It means we moved a lot. I think I lived in 5 houses by the time I graduated high school. But because of that, we were always in a new house, which was really nice. Everything was nice and new and clean all the time. But also with that, it means my family did a lot of advertising. So our name, which it was McGovern Builders Inc., was the name of their company. So I was homeschooled growing up. So I had like my close core of friends that lived in the neighborhood with me, but I didn't really interact outside of that very much. And then I went to public school for high school. And when I did that, I realized that pretty much everybody in Lee Summit knew who we were because my parents were advertising all the time. So McGovern was just on the billboards everywhere.
Yes.
And so that was an adjustment of just like, oh, I don't know who you are, but you know who I am. And like kind of just like the weirdness that
Did
happens.
that draw you into real estate or did that repel you from it?
Well, I've always loved building stuff and I've loved solving problems. And math. Math always came easy to me. So starting in grade school, I just thought I was going to be an architect. And then in high school,
Wait, pause. Grade school?
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory. I don't know. Like, I was not thinking that high.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it wasn't that hyper focused. I either wanted to be an architect or a naval aviator because of watching
Great.
Top Gun.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
you're kind of both those.
So I kind of
Minus the Navy
went down
part.
both of those paths. I got my pilot's license when I was 16 and have been flying since then. I never did go down the military route, but I ended up going to school for architectural engineering, which, more of an engineer than an architect. So kind of got to discover that during high school, but really came into that identity at KU. So I went to the University of Kansas and did architectural engineering there.
Wait, sorry. Before you go into college stuff, because Audacious Playground, we love telling about God stories and stuff. I know that you're just whatever you share, like your spiritual formation, like seeing the big things of God. So that like you lived in an era in Kansas City that was experiencing mass amount of just favor from God.
And
I don't know. Is there anything you want to share about that?
yeah,
So I think it's amazing.
Grew up in Kansas City through the 1990s, and during that time was I don't know, people talk about it as the Kansas City Prophets. And so I grew up with Bob Jones as a spiritual grandfather, and then close friends with Mike Bickle and like Lou Engle and a handful of others. And Lou was after the 90s, so he wasn't in that season. But with that, we had home church and got to just experience the realness of the Spirit of God on a really consistent basis, which marked me forever. Part of where I learned that, yeah, God speaks to me in like pictures and visions and stuff. So while I was homeschooled, our reading curriculum was reading like stories from the Bible, right? And you guys can help fill in some of the names and contexts of this story, but
You have Bible characters?
yeah, it'll make sense.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's the answer.
So I was reading with my mom one day this story, and the story was about a king and like was being faced with war, and this prophet like told him to strike arrows against the ground, right?
Yes.
And so I was reading this story, and I was like, Mom, I know what happens. She's like, oh, did you read this? Like, did you read ahead? I was like, no, I've never read this before, but I had this dream last night. And like, I've seen this room. Like, this is what happens. There's an angel actually in the corner of the room, and the prophet's talking to this king, and he gives the king the arrows, and he hits the arrows against the ground, and every time he hits it, the angel just gets pumped up, like he's like ready to roll, and he hits it like 3 times, and then he stops, and then like the angel almost starts like crying. It's just like so sad. And then
the prophet
tells him,
why did you stop?
Yeah, why'd you stop? So I'm telling my mom this story, and she's like, you've not read this? Like, no, I had this dream last night. So I finished reading the story like this. It's just incredible and crazy. So started having dreams, really, really young. A really important portion of my story happened while I was at school in college. Had a pretty major surgery, and the procedure was like my rib cage is kind of concaved. So there's like 3 types of sternums: concave sternums, flat sternums, and then like barrel chest sternums. So I had the concave one. And at the end of my freshman year, I was having like some panic attacks and didn't know what was going on, and went to the doctor and like, well, man, you're in like really great shape. I ran cross country and all this stuff. It's like, you're in great shape, but you should probably go to a specialist. So I went to the specialist. It's like, yeah, you're running out of room for your like heart and your lungs and stuff. He's like, it won't kill you, but you probably won't be able to be active, by the time you're 30. And at the time, I'm like, 30, well, that's a ways away, but I mean, I want to not be active at any point. So anyway, had this surgery, was set up to do the surgery, and we were at our lake property. And it was like the week before we were supposed to have surgery, and Bob Jones was down. And we were praying on the back patio. We're actually just like talking on the back patio. My mom was like, hey, Bob, John's going to have surgery this week. Would you want to pray for him? And he's like, yeah, we can pray. And he had a piercing presence. So when you would pray, you'd like be face to face. He'd always look you in the eyes, and typically would say something, like whether it was a prayer or like whatever God was showing him or something. And in this case, it was nothing. It was just silent. And I was previously just praying in the house of like, God, I'm nervous about the surgery. What's going to happen? And I felt the Lord tell me, It's like, I can heal you, but I've got more for you than that. It's like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I went out and praying, standing with Bob. He's like looking me in the eyes.
Awkward.
And yeah, it gets a little awkward. And then, so I'm like trying to fill the silence. Like, I know God can heal me. And he goes, yes, but like, but he has more than that for me. He's like, yes. And then he just like goes on this roll. He's like, you're going into this season of boy, you're going to come out of man. And like all of this stuff, which was just incredible. I'm like crying and like, God, what all's going on? So the other thing that happened while we were at the lake that day was at that point, this was in 2005, the housing market was cranking. So like my parents were doing great. Life was awesome. Everything's good. And he's like, hey, the housing market is collapsing. It's going to start on the coast and it's going to move to the middle of the country. It's like, okay, like what does that mean? Don't quite know. So fast forward, I went into surgery in a week, basically a week, and houses stopped selling. Like my family went from selling around 10 a month to 0. Like basically that day.
Yeah.
Like, that same week. The procedure that I had, they put in a metal bar in my chest, which like immediately brings it out to like a normal shape. It was extremely painful, but they said like, hey, the first 30 days, we're not going to sugarcoat it. It's tough. Like it's painful, but then things will get better. It's like, okay. So for the first month, like I don't remember most of that month, but when I do start remembering things was a month after and no houses had sold. The market had clearly shifted. I was in so much pain. Like I couldn't grab a glass or a cup out of like the top cupboard. Could barely like go up and downstairs, but I was getting close to the 30-day mark. And for the whole month, I had told myself, it's like, I can do anything for a month. Like I can endure anything for a month. Well, day 32 came. So like a month was clearly done and the pain really hadn't changed. And so I was just sitting, crying and just telling the Lord, like, I can't do this. Like if this is, so the time that the bar was supposed to be in my chest was 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't do this. Like I cannot make 3 years. There's no way I can do this.
But there you're like, you can go back and like take it out.
Do what?
You can ask them to take it out.
I guess so.
Okay.
I would think so. I didn't know at the time. I just was like, kill me now is really the thought. It's like, I can't do this. There's no way I make it through this. But I heard the voice of the Holy Spirit in that moment said, no, you can't, but I can.
Yeah.
And it just brought peace to everything. It's like, I don't have to do this. Like you do. So I had a meeting the next day, air quotes meeting. I talked with my parents at the kitchen table the next day.
Yeah. I was like, with the doctor, with your employer?
So because it was time to go back to school, it was time to start my sophomore year of college. And I was in a very competitive program that had limited seats, like, and a set track. It wasn't like, hey, you just pick your classes and you get through like most majors were. It's like you had a set course. And if you missed classes, like you were off track. And it was time to start the next year. And so my parents like, hey, we don't think you're in, like, you can't take care of yourself. Like you haven't really left the house, but you want to go to college. And it's like, that doesn't seem possible. So we were praying about that. It's like, I knew I needed to go back to school and that God had said, like, I'm not getting off track, basically. It's like, we just need to pray. That'll feel better. So we prayed around the kitchen table and I woke up the next day and went for a half a mile walk around the neighborhood. Could get cups for myself again. It was like night and day difference. Like, okay, I get to go back to school. That season was a lot of other lessons learned about the strength and weakness, the strength of God in our weakness, but just changed how I viewed a lot of things. And then also my own limitations, which has played into business and ongoing. So fast forwarding in that story, family business went bankrupt in 2010, I want to say, which was the time that I graduated from college. So I came back and helped basically close down all of the businesses, and started a furniture store. I think I ran that for 6 months, maybe a year. It was primarily selling. We had 32 model homes worth of furniture to we had to do something with them.
Before Facebook Marketplace? You were
Yeah, this is long before Facebook Marketplace. So we were selling furniture. We would buy some new furniture to supplement it.
Yeah.
But while I was working there, I got approached by a friend that was working for a tech company in Kansas City. And he's like, hey, come see me for lunch. So I went to go see him at this place in Zona Rosa, if you're familiar with Kansas City, for lunch. But he wasn't ready yet. He's like, I got to finish this thing. Go talk to these guys out at the end of the hall. They do some trading stuff. You'll hit it off. I'm like, okay, fine. So I go and I sit down with them and talk with them for a little bit. And they were starting a social media data analytics powered trading company. Well, it's a mouthful, but it's like, that's really cool. And at the time, social media analytics was cutting edge.
Yeah.
Nobody really understood it. It was just kind of this magic thing that you could know what everybody was thinking. So they invited me to join their team because I had history in writing trading algorithms.
Right then, right there?
No, it was 2 days later.
Okay.
Yeah. The first guy that I talked to, I don't think was all that jazzed about it. He was a finance major from KU. All of them were finance majors from KU, but had done zero trading. So none of them actually knew how to initiate trades, track the trades, do any of that kind of stuff. It's yeah, this would be great. So anyway, that was my first start because I accepted. I was yeah, this is probably the coolest project or problem that I could set out to go solve. So that's how I started in the software realm.
So I have to jump into this software realm, architect background, real estate. Connect the dots for me. How'd you get to Reading, and then ultimately why Reading, and then why Waco? I mean, California, and then you're out. There's a lot to get through, but what's some of those points to touch on? How you moved around?
Prayer is the answer to pretty much all of those components. So my wife and I got married in 2017. That is a whole story worth unpacking on its own. But as we were doing our premarital counseling, both of us were praying about where do we live? Because we both had houses. Do we move into your house? Do we move into my house? What all are we doing? But we both felt the invitation from the Lord to get married and build our foundation outside of Kansas City. But there wasn't a place. It wasn't you should go to XYZ. So part of our honeymoon, we went to Reading, and we were praying about that, where we were going to go, because we still didn't know at that point. But I remember looking at her in Reading as we're about to fly home, so moving to Reading. And she was at the same place, okay. So
sounds like a lack of excitement.
Well, it was kind of timidity of not knowing, this seems like the right move. Okay, but does it seem like the right move to you? Don't know yet.
You're not married yet.
Well, we were married, so we were on a honeymoon at that point. Yes. Yeah, but days. So still didn't really know each other that well, which part of our story, we dated for 6 months and then got married. So there was we dated for 6 months. We were apart for 2 years. Then we dated for 6 months and got married. So as we got married, we realized oh, we don't really know each other that well. But we did know each other's spirits. I think that's the best way to put it. And yeah, both of us were yeah, I think this is the best choice. We could go anywhere. The invitation is open, but I think this is the best choice for us. So that's how we ended up in Reading. How we ended up in Waco is I do construction and entrepreneurship. We're living in Northern California, which is already that's a hard environment to do business. California as a state. So grappling with that, then COVID comes, everything shuts down to another level. And we're like, I don't know, just rounded up to 2,000 miles away from family and home.
Yeah.
It's like, I think our short season in Redding is about up right now. And we were also, I think we were pregnant with Abigail at that time. I'm pretty sure. So we prayed about like, hey, what comes next? It's like, let's have a meeting. We'll pray about what's next. And I like shooting the moon first.
Yes.
Dream big. What could all happen? And then tear it back to like, hey, what is God saying? What is the best thing to do and whatever. So did that with Betsy. If we're going to move, where would we move? And why would we do that? And I was hoping she would say somewhere like in Europe or something like that.
Yeah. Shoot for the moon.
Yeah.
We all should go to
crazy.
Paris, Copenhagen.
Yeah. And she's like, Waco, Texas. Like, okay, seems very practical. Not what I thought we would start with, but I like Texas. I have family from Texas, and my grandfather lived in Houston at the time. It's like that could be good. Okay, we'll pray about that.
Yeah,
start looking at the real estate market there, and so the next morning we got a message from our good friend Shelby Burford, who you guys know, but another just like God's awesome and crazy all at the same time part of the story. His message like, hey, I had a dream last night that you guys were living in Waco. Just thought, felt like I needed to share that with you. Love you. Have a great day. It's like, cool. Babe, I'll start looking at houses in Waco. So we started like queuing everything up and getting set up to go to Waco.
And in 2020, you're like, wow, this housing market is so much better than Redding. And 2.3%.
Yeah, it was nuts. It's like, oh man, we can buy like a really great house for $300,000, and 2% interest or 3% interest. It was really, really cheap, but the market was on fire.
Yeah,
it's like you don't know whether you're going to get the house that you put an offer in on even over market.
Yeah.
So we ended up visiting Waco, and we went to Antioch and visited, which was the first time. It was the second time I'd been to Antioch, but the first time I was like fully there. And I was walking around in the lobby carrying Mac, and everybody's still masked up at that point. It's like middle of COVID. And there's another dad out there walking his baby around, and he comes up, he's like, hey, are you new? I'm like, yeah. Visiting, thinking about moving to Waco. I was like, oh man, that's great. That's great. It was Cody Johnston.
Oh, no way.
Mm-hmm. So we got to talk in the lobby for a little bit and exchanged phone numbers. Like, if you need anything, just let me know. Like, Waco's amazing. We'd love to help you and whatever. And then sends me a text message that they'd be happy to watch our kids. I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome. What a great offer. But immediately it was like, I'm pretty sure I just made a friend for life. That's what just happened right now.
That's so sweet.
And I was talking to Betsy about it as we were leaving church. And I got another text message from him. And it was like, basically like coming back on the like watching your kids offer.
Yeah.
Not in a like, maybe never mind, but like, hey, sorry if that was weird. So the text message was like, hey, I realized we just met and like leaving your friends with strangers is probably like a weird thing to do. So I'm not weird, I promise. But if we can help anything, just let us know.
Yes.
But that's Cody, and he's a great children's author. So,
yes.
So there's
but I think that is a good just microcosm
so y'all
for Waco.
landed. Was it straight into real estate? What was what were
so
you doing?
In 21, I had a remote job by that time. I was working in technology, working for Remedy Technology, and doing a software that optimized like music royalties for the music industry. So I was traveling in and out of Nashville a lot at the time. So also shorter flights to Nashville was great. But we were doing like, I've always done something in real estate through my career. So we were looking at investment properties or things that we could do in Waco, but it wasn't first focus. But in 21, 20. Yeah, it would have been 21 was when we met. Was Abigail born when we met or not yet? She was. So it was 22 when we met. Awesome. But had started looking at real estate opportunities and then also acquiring businesses. So the baby boomer exit. Hey, there's a lot of businesses that are going to be sold. How do you capitalize on that? What does that even look like? So was in the process of buying an engineering company and also an aviation company when Remedy Technology didn't make their next capital raise. So I went from being fully employed, well employed in the tech space with a great tech salary here in Waco and in Texas, which goes a long way.
Yeah.
Typically in Texas, to not having that income.
Yeah.
And building businesses.
So 22, you said. So what, standing here today, what did that turn into? What's happened to those two companies?
Yes.
We've talked a lot about holdcos. Like, has it turned into what you dreamed? What does that look
Still
like
in
today?
process.
And then maybe a little bit on like, what do you want that holdco to turn into?
Yeah,
What's
parts of it
now?
has, and parts of it are still in process. So, the engineering company, Abacus Engineering here in Waco, bought that with Matt Sipperlin, and that is pretty much transitioned in a stable company. So when we bought it, paper invoices were going out, very little like technology stack helping drive that and keep that in place. So we wrote software. I wrote Builder HQ, which has a larger implication, but it started as just running that company. And then with the aviation company, bought that. We held it for 2 years and then actually just sold that. So
way to go.
Round trip on that one. And then now really honing in and focusing into the software front. So
the playground, Waco, what is exciting you these days? Why are you staying engaged with developing new things and building things? What's exciting you?
Seeing the unseen become real is, I think, the driving factor. Our Heavenly Father is creative, and inherently so are we. And so when we create and when we build, like, really beautiful things happen. And there's a lot of that going on in Waco right now. So it's really, really cool to be a part of that as that happens. So
the thing about the Consular Capital, that's what you call the hold company, really impressive the last year or two, knowing you, watching you, what you've built. I mean, anyone who started a company, it takes a lot of work to start one company, let alone to build multiple things. So much juggling, so much manpower and hours. What is Consular Capital like? What does it hope to achieve?
Yeah. So going back to the Reading season and part of just like some of the things that I saw when God was talking about Elon Musk, it came down to like long-term vision and goals. And I'd always worked on like cool things or difficult things or whatever that took a good amount of vision. But the question of like, what am I working on? And what am I partnering with that's more than just the next couple of years or 5 years even, that matters? And the end takeaway was kind of repositioning the goals that I was working on. And that broke down into 2 categories. One, being culture and entertainment. So that is that's the water that we all swim in. Like whether it's TV shows or movies or music, like that is what we participate in. And especially at the time, there's a big void in that of actually expressing the culture and the water that I swim in,
Mhm.
and I think that we swim in. That's like, hey, this is actually a normal way to live, and a good way to live, and a fun way to live. So participating in that, and then the other, from a meaningful standpoint of like what's or a materially impactful standpoint, like where does that touch the ground? And that was a picture of helping rebuild the industrial complex of the Midwest, so across the central part of the country. So at the time, it spent a lot of time in software, and what I was seeing was momentum slowing in the Bay Area from like impactful creation and development, and just seeing like a picture of the next wave is going to be material. And I think we still haven't seen that yet, but a lot of the conversations right now of like, oh, AI unlocks robots, like that's what happens. Like, cool. Where do most of that manufacturing happen? Well, typically it's been across the Midwest, but a lot of those plants have shut down. So revitalizing that has been part of the vision, which is real estate, commercial buildings, technology, and engineering.
I like that description of music and culture being what we swim in, we operate in. The music piece, like it's happening whether you think about it or not. Driving Link home, my 5-year-old from T-ball 2 nights ago, we get about 3/4 of the way home, and he goes, "Dad, I haven't heard any rap music today." Kind of alluded to the fact that like, if you ever driven down the road and someone's music is so loud
Wow.
that it's rattling your car and you're hearing it too. That's what he was referencing. But I was just finding this idea that music is happening and you are unaware of it. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
New angle for John's face. Check out that chisel chin.
Well, as we are adjusting this and this failure of a camera,
I
would love
won't
to know.
change that, but that's a good view.
Hey, it's a great shot. What would you say are, because an audacious player, I'm going to talk about failures and successes, I guess, as we land the plane, what would you say are like, man, I really failed on this one, but I learned this. And then what are some things that are successful that you've enjoyed participating in?
There's been plenty of failures for sure. It's hard for me to see a failure individually though, because most of them overlap or they open a door into like whatever came next. But I would say with the aviation company, a failure, like a major failure in that was the projection of how much time or input that was going to take. It was like way underestimated.
Yeah.
And so in the process of doing that, like everything was underwater, like from an energy and resource standpoint.
I feel like the understanding was maybe like, you'll go down to Corpus Christi every once in a while. And it felt like every other week you were there for 3 days.
Yeah. And then in the final 6 months of owning the company, it was every week.
Yeah.
It was very rare that I didn't take a trip to Corpus in a week. So that was technically a failure. But I think also in light of the audacious playground and just like how God is involved in those stories, because the reason why I was there so much over that time period is we had made a hire with a mechanic that was not producing good work. And so that started hitting the fan of like being able to recognize, oh wait, this guy's not doing what we think that he's doing, and it's eroding the company. So being able to step in, or being required to step in, like have to do something, to be able to catch that. At the same time, the company was for sale, like it's listed on the market. So being able to meet with clients, be able to fix the problems that were visible, onto having it ready for the people that ended up buying it at the very end of the year. But like, at least for me, I recognize and see like God's hand in that story. Like that could have easily gone the other way. I could still be traveling to Corpus literally every week, and all of the difficulties that come with that, time away from family and time that needs to go to other companies. But it turned it around from a place where, like, in July of last year, it's like, what is this company even worth, to being able to sell it even at a profit. So
Praise God.
Yeah.
And then you want to talk about your most successful business of the fireworks?
Prelitfireworks.com.
Hopefully that is
Prelitfireworks.com.
prelitfireworks.com. No,
Super successful.
That's what this episode is sponsored by. Prelitfireworks.com.
That's good.
You get your fireworks already lit in the box.
I thought you were talking about
super safe.
That is
Mom
interstate
friendly.
commerce.
Fireworkstoyou.com.
Illegal to the max. Yeah, fireworkstoyou.com.
Yeah.
Lit by us, sent straight to you.
Yes. The timing's perfect.
Yes. You've done a lot of businesses. You had that. You had Berchacho's Nachos.
Oh, well, Berchacho's Nachos isn't launched yet. So we have berchachos.com waiting for the right opportunity.
I feel like that's stadium nacho food.
It is.
Is it? Am I right?
It should be. Yeah. It just doesn't exist yet. But the thought is like freeze-dried nachos or something. Like
freeze-dried
nachos
delivered to your door.
Perfect for our space data system.
Yeah.
Our data center.
Nachos from space.
Sponsored by NASA.
Hey, that's what we're going to pitch next week or in May to the Space Force.
Yeah.
We got nachos for you.
Once you get there, if people need to eat something, nachos.
But then you're like, no, sorry, Air Force and Space Force, you can't have any. And they're like, well, why not? Because they're nachos. Anything else you want to add about your story? Obviously, the story's being written as we speak.
Yeah, stories
a lot of great
things. Being written still, but I think the last piece that is still like fresh on the table right now is what all of the companies and many failures along the way of like small endeavors, large endeavors, different things, like how all of that stacks to where we're at right now. And seeing just the impact of AI in markets, where I can see how all of the paths intersect and set for just a really awesome trajectory for where we're at right now. And it's cool seeing, that experience with the Lord of like, hey, I created this playground for you to play with me. Doesn't mean you won't get hurt, because there's been bruises along the way for sure. But to see like, oh, hey, it's working. It's really cool.
Praise God. Do it.
Last thing I want to say, and hey, this could be a new segment, but what if there's a young entrepreneur out there listening, or an older person listening, he's like, I'm still trying to figure out what are some resources that have really impacted you, books or podcasts, or something that a mentor has told you. What is something that's really helped you move forward?
That's really good. There's a few things. One, extreme ownership. Like, you really need to, it's like all of them, because there's extreme ownership, and then there's the dichotomy of leadership that kind of balances that out. That's like, yeah, you need to own everything, but also, like, if you own everything, then the people you work with don't have their own responsibility for stuff. Those have been very helpful. But I think the most powerful thing in all of this has been Psalms 107. It's like verse 21. Those who do business on deep waters see the hand of God. And it goes on to say that the waves came up and the waves went down, and their souls like wasted away within them. They were like asking for death, essentially. Like, it's so bad. They're like, we're going to die out here. But God ferries them to their desired destination. That has been the most critical, because all along the way, stuff gets tough or things fail. The seas come up, waves are crashing against the boat. It feels like everything's collapsing on you, but the promise is true. And that has been the biggest thing, I would say. of like,
Good.
oh, the promise is true. Hold on to it, even when it's rough.
Reference one more time. Psalm 100 and what? 7 verse
21.
21.
In there, yeah.
Yeah.
Let it be known. And
That
with the
massive
Bible.
back tat you got.
Yeah.
No, he got it on his chest after he
Yeah,
read
that's
that.
right.
They welded it onto that bar before they inserted it into his chest.
Had it engraved in the titanium. I still have it.
Whoa.
The titanium bar.
That's what I was wondering.
Okay, let's put it up in the office. That's kind of
How they
morbid.
dig it out. Yeah.
Because I got to keep it. I was like, yeah. They're like, you can keep it if you want to. Like, we just throw it away. It's like, oh, I'll keep it. It's like,
You should like
medical grade titanium.
You should smelt it into a knife.
Yes.
And then,
All right, we're gonna go do that.
Great. Check in next episode to see if we've
To
smelted
see-
it into a knife.
Smelted a sternum steel.
Nice.
Dude, that's a good band name. Sternum steel. Here we go. All right.
Until next time.
Thanks, John.
Bye now.
Thanks, guys.
Gotcha.